Hey everybody, Stu Smith here. Welcome to our live Q&A session as well as our CSS critique show that we do with submitted videos from you guys who are looking to improve your combat swimmer stroke for various fitness tests that typically involve special ops, diving, or rescue swimming. You will see those swims again in the future. But while we get people on, let me just show you a fun video we took the other day. This is our first open water swim of the year, which was chilly. We had no wetsuits and it's like 54 degrees. And we swam just over a half mile just to test it out. Kind of the wetsuit appreciation day, if you will. And this is why we do the combat swimmer stroke, because you do it with fins. It is just one of those strokes that is efficient and low profile, doesn't make any noise, and all you really hear right now is the noise of the beach hitting the surf. And let me move that. There you go. This is just one of our guys doing his last, I don't know, 100 yards or so of the CSS. Try to get this thing down. There we go. So I had to zoom in like 10x to get to see him. Let me see if you can see how far it is. So he's not that far off the coast. But imagine this at night, rainy, dark night, nobody's on the beach, or if they are, you're definitely not going to see this coming in. And, to be honest, this is an insertion method is not really feasible today when we have advanced scuba, we have boats, we have all kinds of, helicopters, all kinds of ways to insert. But you never know. It may be useful tool to swim out to meet up with a boat or a submarine. You may have to use this stroke and try not to make yourself obvious while you're doing it. And that's really why we do this. So people always ask, why don't you just swim freestyle? Well, there's a reason. You want it to be a quiet, efficient stroke that you can do in open water, and wearing big scuba fins that you need those big rocket fins or jet fins to develop the power to get through certain tides and currents. So that's why we swim with big fins. So let's see. Happy to see you today. Thanks, Alex. For swimming freestyle for time, do you recommend 2 or 3 strokes per breath? In terms of recovery, which is more important between sleep and eating? I've done a podcast on that one. Actually, I'll answer that one second. But typically for longer distance swimming, the swimming freestyle, every 3 strokes, especially if you're open water, there's a purpose for that as well. So you're kind of scanning both sides of you. That's what I hear. Plus, it just balances out the breathing. I personally am a 3 to 4 breather, not a 2 breather. The only time I'll do a 2-stroke breath is if I am really winded. From a sprint or something, I need to catch my breath, so I'll do every left, right, breathe, left, right, breathe. But usually I'm a left, right, breathe. So I usually go 4. And then if I'm just trying to get winded, I'll go 6, 8, 10. There's ways to play with stroke count on freestyle to work conditioning as well as just to work your comfort in the water, um, being winded. So let's see, Aiden, yesterday with one of your guys I PST'd, spoke very highly of you. Oh, that's nice. My scores were 858, 107, 92. Damn, nice work. Definitely good on the PT side. Could be a little better on the swim and the run, but sub 9 is great for a swim. Sub, closer to 9 is better for the run. So, but definitely sub 10 and you're close. So my goal would be try to get that run down to 9:30. Keep that swim under 9, maybe even flirt with 8:30. I think you'll be better off. But, to be honest with you, the more important run right now, especially if you're trying to go to Buds, is a 7-minute mile for 4. Because if you can do a 28-minute 4 mile in boots and pants on the hard packed sand, that is going to be the bigger challenge because you do that weekly at SEAL training. And tired legs is something that you got to learn to be able to run with. So I always say shoot for 28s, sub 28s, make it easy, not a gut check. So you're doing pretty well with at that pace, but if you could hold that pace for 4 miles, that would be awesome. So you got some conditioning to do. Hey Stu, what do you think of BFR bands for endurance? I know they're primarily used for weightlifting, but there's a recent study on wearing it while running, which stated to help endurance and strength. You know what? I don't really know. I've never tried them myself. So yeah, I'm not sure how that would help you with running. I mean, I guess there's a study that says it, so who am I to argue? Um, I never did the blood restriction stuff to get pumped up. Um, Never really saw a need in it, so a little bit old school with that. But hey, man, whatever floats your boat. Try it and see if you see a difference. That's my answer to anything. If you're asking me about something, my answer will be to try it and see if you notice a difference. If you don't, stop using it. If you do, see if you can apply that logically to a training program because you won't be able to use it when you're going through selection. So, any advice on someone going Army OCS and wants to branch infantry, already crushing the APFT? Well, there's more than the APFT. There's obviously the ACFT, which you need to do, and there's rucking, which you will also need to do. So my advice would be to start adding ACFT, the combat fitness test events, to your training as well as rucking. And the ACFT is well known now. You got deadlifts, you got planks, you got sand or medicine ball throw. You got a shuttle run, you got sprint, drag, carry. In that shuttle run, where you farmer walk, you sprint, and you do a sled drag. You do a 2-mile run too, so you still got to do all that and a 2-mile run. You got reverse push-ups. You got not a hand release push-up. So you do a push-up and you got to pull your hands off. That's another one. So definitely ACFT and rucking is what I would start adding, especially if you got 4 years of. Well, sorry, I thought you said ROTC. You don't have 4 years, but you definitely need to get on that ACFT then and start rucking, because you'll probably also be tasked to go through Ranger School as well as an officer. So you definitely want to be rucking. So I would go with I have a combination Army combo that will work really well. In fact, check out this article because it shows you exactly what you need. There's 2 programs. It's a APFT CFT program with rucking prep and then Ranger SF style training program. Oh, I forgot to answer your part 2 up there, Aiden or Alex, about which is more important, sleep and eating, between sleep and eating. I would say sleep is our number 1 recovery tool, and eating good nutrition is our number 2 recovery tool. And probably equally important, to be honest with you, but I actually made a non-scientific Venn diagram on nutrition, sleep, and recovery. All right. So I'm Googling those three words with my name in the search. I want to show you this article. So it's moving slow today. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you here. So check out this, and I'll put the link to that article right here, and it will thoroughly explain it a little bit better. All right, so let me share my screen. It is window. Let me see. What the hell? I think I just screwed it up. All right, hang on one second. So check out this. There we go. Now we got it. So you guys can see this. All right. So this is my Stu Smith Fitness page. If you scroll down on this link, you'll see nutrition for energy, eat, sleep, and recovery. So this is my non-scientific pie chart because this is basically my opinion. And I try to put together how I understand recovery as best I can. But sleep, as you can see, is our number one recovery tool. Nutrition, about 50%. So nutrition is at 40%. So it's very important. And that's food, water, vitamins, supplements, also electrolytes, very important part of that. And then there's this kind of missing 10% in there where everybody spends their money on ice, heat, stretching, mobility gear, outsourcing services like massages and, things like that. So that is where I look at all the recovery on that pie chart, and you see sleep and nutrition are side by side. If you can just eat well and sleep well, you got 90% of your problem covered. Everything else could probably be recovered with some stretching and mobility sessions. My opinion. Let's see. Where am I? Okay. I think I scrolled up a little bit. Okay, here we go. Going to be in Maryland, Chesapeake area over the summer for work. Will you be conducting the Heroes of Tomorrow workouts? And then, if so, could I send in an application? Sure. It is limited to people who are serving or have served or preparing to serve. So it's not just for anybody to come in and join our workouts, unless we are friends from a long time. Have I done that? So you got to be wanting to serve to join us. And if you go to heroesoftomorrow.org, and I'll put the link right here, you will see our schedule. I update it every week because times don't change, but our locations do and what we're doing. So check out that and you'll see our program. All right. So Alex, sleep, eating, and hydration, definitely the most important. But out of all of them, sleep is priority and number one recovery tool. I would agree with you, Bird. In fact, if you look at that link that I sent you, I put in a podcast in there, but there's also another one for, let me see, recovery. Let me see what I do at longevity. So I interviewed a nutritionist, and I came up with this article called "The Mastery." Longevity is the mastery of recovery. Okay, you want to live long and healthy life, you got to learn recovery and all those tools in that. And this one was an interview with a PhD nutrition. Really good article or really good podcast. And then I wrote an article about it too. And then I did another one, another podcast on the importance of sleep with sleep doctor, sleep specialist, recovery. And I will say this, even the nutritionist said sleep is the most important. So he is a PhD and the doctor is a um, here's another one on restorative sleep. This is a good one. And the doctor, he's a medical doctor, medical professional that specializes in sleep. So he says sleep is more important, and the nutritionist says sleep is more important. So I would say I would go with that. Sleep is more important. But I will say this: nutrition is your fuel. Not only your fuel for the next workout, but your water and electrolytes is your fuel to get through hot workouts or arid environment workouts. And because you'll be a heat casualty real quick if you're not hydrating and getting electrolytes. And uh, your nutrition is also part of that recovery that's going to help you with the next workouts, help you recover from that. And sleep is the ultimate Kickstarter. All right, so Tristan says, once I'm done with the Air Force program, do you recommend going straight into the supplemental program, or do you transition, deload, anything like that? I'm assuming when you say Air Force program, you are talking about this one. This is a good one, and it's 16 weeks long. After you do that, it's kind of up to you where you want to go. Some people do it again, especially if they have multiple weaknesses that are in that IFT, OFT world, the initial fitness test and the operator fitness test. Or they can go on, and if they're not focusing specifically on events, and they're focusing more on the elements of fitness, you can go with the, if let's say you're weak, right? And your strength is your weakness, you can go with the winter lift cycle, or you could go with the summer. If endurance and muscle stamina is your weakness, you can go with that one. So it really kind of depends. My advice would be to assess yourself at the end of this, and let's see where your strengths and weaknesses are and how much time you have, and you can make a logical decision from there versus just saying go with this one when I don't really know all the details. I was thinking about buying a weight vest for pull-ups and rucking. What weight would you suggest? Well, I would say this: if you're going to do pull-ups, 10 to 20 pounds is a good place to start. Um, and if you're coming from the metric world, that would be 5 to 10 kilograms. If you are doing push-ups, you can go a little heavier. Probably go with like the 20 kilogram or 40-pound weight vest for push-ups. And I usually hang around there for weighted runs or rucks with a weight vest at 40 to 50 pounds. So I would get something adjustable if you can. And there's plenty of adjustable types out there where you can make it a 10-pound vest or a 40-pound vest or a 20-pound vest. I will say this: most tactical fitness tests have you doing 20-pound pull-ups. Some have 25-pound pull-ups. So, that's something to consider for your pull-ups, but you may need to build up to that before you jump right into it. Let's see. That's some of my answers. Let me see what happened here. Okay, here we go. One more question, and we'll go show it to a video. Hey, Stu, any recommendations on dealing with seasonal allergies aside from taking medication? I always get them this time of year, and they seem to affect my sleep. Yeah, I use Claritin and Flonase. So I'll spray the Flonase spray up my nose, and that has been so helpful this season that I haven't even used any Claritin yet. So, we're in that phase right now too, where there's pollen all over my cars, and so I know I'm inhaling it whenever I run. Um, as far as sleeping, yeah, that's a tough one. I don't like taking antihistamines or anything before I sleep because then I just it tends to keep me awake longer. So I avoid that kind of medication. Try to blow my nose real well, and then try to go to sleep. Work on a couple of different things. If you're having that post nasal drip, sometimes I will sleep on my side and with my head like into my pillow, so my everything's going this way versus laying on my back and it's going backwards and making me cough because that'll keep you up. So I don't know. I've been trying to come up with answers for years on it, and when you have them, it sucks. I usually do Claritin or what's it called? Zyrtec? Yeah, Claritin or Zyrtec. And then Flonase has been very helpful. Let's see. I'm coming to Naval Academy Summer Seminar for session 3. Is there a certain way to work out with you like the videos I've seen on YouTube? Or is it everyone gets to do it? No, we all get to do it. I will be there working out session 1, 2, and 3 with you guys. And it's just one workout that I'm there for. But if you're in town for another day or two before, you can always join us. I wouldn't join us before you go because you will be taking the CFA officially at the academy and it counts. So you want to be well rested when you go in there for summer seminar, crush that CFA test. And then if you got a day after, come join us locally. You can join us on our local workouts as well. But I'll be there. I'll be PTing with 800 people all at once, and it's a lot of fun. In fact, if you notice um, my header on my website, that is me PTing with all of you guys at summer seminar. So that's it right there. That's me, and that's you. All 800 of you cranking out a lot of push-ups, planks, squats, lunges. It's a good time. It's a lot of fun. I try to give you some tips to you know learn how to train and push yourselves, and so it's a lot of fun. We all I enjoy it. Been doing it for over 25 years. As someone interested in STO, Special Tactics Officer, how important is the CSS? I mean, it's an option for you. I would say this, learning it will be helpful, especially if you are doing any open water swims with fins. But, you can also use freestyle with fins. You can do lead arm, trail arm with fins. Um, it's not necessary, but it is a nice stealthy stroke. But good question. All right, so let's do this. Let's share a video. Not sure which one this one is. We will just see when we get there. Let me turn the volume down. All right, so share our screen. Here we go. All right, so what do we got here? Not too bad. Top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. 1, 2, kick and glide. It's not horrible. He's getting around pretty well. What's this? Can't argue with results. He's probably getting a 50-second 50 with this. It's just, if you can see here, like he could be a little tighter on a streamline. Let me back that up a little bit. Like when he kicks off the wall, man, I can't grab this thing for anything. All right, so kicks off the wall. You can see like his streamlining, his head's up and his biceps aren't on his ears. You want to get a little tighter on that. That'll just help you glide a little faster. Got a decent double arm pull, but then if you notice that transition into the stroke was a little awkward, and it's like you lost all of your momentum when you went from you see that is not a streamline recovery, right? That is like, hey, let me put on the brakes while I'm swimming and just go vertical, right? So you got to be a little tighter. You got to keep those elbows underneath you. You got to keep your hands underneath. So here's the double arm pull, and then there's a really awkward recovery. So top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. So the thing you have here, you have the timing down. You just got to clean up your strokes a little bit, be a better glider, and be better recovery with these arms. These arms need to be a lot tighter to your body when you're gliding. But, in fairness, that's a 40, 49-second 50, right? Yeah, got kicked off right there. So that's 49-second 50 is not bad. That's going to get you, a sub 8 pace. So right now, your stroke is capable of an 8-minute swim, sub 8-minute swim. But are you capable of that? That's the big question. Are your lungs capable of that? All right, let's see. My shoulder sometimes cracks during the half moon stretch. Do you think it's pretty common? Yeah, it's a little common. I mean, there's nothing wrong with some cracks as long as it's not a painful pop. I mean, I can definitely pop. Heard myself crack 3 times doing that. So I wouldn't sweat it too much. I think that's just the way the body moves sometimes. Like I said, as long as you're not feeling pain. If you're feeling pain, that's an issue. Let's see, just a bunch of videos. Let's see. But can I compensate sleep through nutrition? Let's say I have a rough week with not so good and enough sleep, but nutrition is on point. Would that help me? Yes, it will help you. Will it be perfect? No, but it would be 10 times better if you had crap nutrition on top of it. So, good nutrition, like put it this way, Hell Week is very doable because we eat every 6 hours and we eat a lot of calories. So, in that type of situation, we're not sleeping at all or very little, maybe an hour a night if you win something. Um, and you're still getting through. You're not really a functioning human being, to be honest, after day 3, because you're just a blithering mess of can't. It's hard to make decisions. You just kind of do whatever they tell you to do. Um, can't think critically, things like that. And as soon as you sit still, you're going to fall asleep. I mean, I remember waiting in line for chow on like day 4, and the guy in front of me was talking, and it was complete gibberish. Like he was talking in his sleep, standing up. It was just hilarious because we both laughed about it afterwards. We're like, dude, you're sleeping. So yes, nutrition can get you through some of those things, but once again, if you don't sleep well for too long, it's going to be a negative process for you. I messaged you on Instagram about joining Heroes of Tomorrow program. You said there's plenty of room. I was wondering, where do most people stay that come out of state? Yeah, sorry I didn't get to that answer. My advice is this: come visit and with no plans to stay, because one, you may not like it. We only work out 2 hours in the morning, and sometimes we'll hit a second workout in the afternoon. Um, but the rest of the day is yours, right? Many people find a job, they find a place to live. A lot go on Craigslist, a lot go to Airbnb for a long extended stay to see if they like it. Um, there's hotels nearby. It's just kind of up to you on how you want to do it. My advice would be to come visit for a week, see if you like it, see if you get along with the guys. And then there's always somebody looking for a roommate or has an in on another room, or somebody's leaving and they now have room in their place. So it's a constant flow of people coming in and out. So my advice would be to do that. I seriously wouldn't come here without visiting first. Like move here without visiting first. That's my advice. Some people do, but it's a gamble. Would you recommend having multiple mentors, for example, instead of just having you as a mentor or have an SF guy? I mean, more people that you can learn from, the better. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I still have mentors. So I just get an apartment or Airbnb near Savannah Park. That's up to you. people do both. But like I said, my advice is make a visit. Just come visit for a week, find a place to stay, hotel or Airbnb, and see if you like it. If you don't like it, go back home. How do you think a Spec Ops candidate should integrate caffeine into their diet throughout training and selection? This is a great question because I have this conversation all the time with people doing pre workout. First of all, you don't need it. And two, integrating, highly caffeinated drinks prior to working out or prior to PT tests. And here's why I don't recommend using caffeine before any workouts, because it artificially elevates your heart rate. And that's fine if you're sitting on your ass resting in between a heavy lift. Who cares, right? You're not really going to get winded. But if you're resting with a quarter-mile run, or you're resting with, another muscle group of calisthenics or weight training, like we do with our circuits, you're not resting, right? You're moving, your heart rate's staying pumped. And if you're taking a test, you're already elevated heart rate's going to put you into the anaerobic zone before you're really ready to be in the anaerobic zone. And a lot of people will bonk early because of their elevated heart rates. It is not an enhancer when you really are trying to keep your heart rate down, so you're efficient with your energy expenditure, but you're at your maximum effort without burning yourself out for the next event that's coming up in that fitness test. So that's where people screw up with caffeine. And unfortunately, people die taking caffeinated drinks before these kind of fitness tests. A couple of years ago, we had a midshipman die during a push-up, plank, and mile-and-a-half run because he just pounded some coffee thinking it was going to be helpful for him during the run phase of the PST or the PFT or PFA, whatever they call the basic fitness test in the Navy. Um, he died. He had a heart attack, from too much caffeine. So my advice, lay off it. Now, this right here is an unsweet iced tea that I bought at McDonald's, and I put it in my chill cup and I sip it through the day. That's my caffeine. I may drink another one after lunch, but usually I'm drinking water in my cup. Great question, though. I can go on for a while. In fact, all you got to do is Google caffeinated heart rate or heart attack death, and it'll show you the light. Have you ever been able to make it 25 meters underwater? Oh, you have. All right. You guys got to learn how to ask questions or give statements. I have never been able to make it 25 meters underwater until yesterday. Great. After having done the 50-50 a couple times, I got it for the first time. Good. Good job. That's what it's for. You're welcome, swanky pants. Frank says, are mentors only after accepting a job in the Navy with a recruiter, or could a regular civilian get help for a PST with a mentor outside of the Navy jurisdiction? No, you cannot. But I will tell you this, they don't really help you that much. They're testing you. So you need to have your stuff together when you go get tested. Now, they may say, hey, you need to put your elbow this way and arm this way. You need to run with a better pace. They may give you that kind of assistance, but they're not training you. They're testing you. So don't think you have to join the Navy to get better at the PST. You should be better at the PST long before you join the Navy. Trust me, that is the way to get to and through buds. That's the process, right? Where people screw up is they go join the Navy thinking, oh, I really need help on this PST. Well, guess what? Your first PST, you're going to go fail. Nobody cares about you because you're just in the failure group. Like, hey, you need to work on this. We'll test again in 2 weeks. Is that training? Is that mentoring? No, it's testing, right? So That is how it works in the recruiting districts. Now, it's not good or bad. That's just the way it is. Like they don't have enough time to train people who are delayed entry program every day as it is. If there's a group, a scout team or mentor group that's has in charge of a recruiting district, guess what they're going to do? They're going to bounce around all over that district. And a week later, they may make it back into your area. Or you can drive an hour and a half or 2 hours and go do more PSTs with them. Or if they have a training day, that's great. They should. But you need to do this on your own. That's why I create programming, because there's a need for it. If there wasn't a need for it, I wouldn't be writing this stuff. I'll come visit for a week and see how it goes. Good. Just let me know. If you go to heroesoftomorrow.org, you'll see our schedule. I update it every week. Is it true you can do an inter-service transfer from one of the service academies? Yes, seen it happen dozens of times. For example, go to the Naval Academy, but commission in the Army. Absolutely. Hang on one second. About to sneeze. Have you ever been an instructor for SOCOM Athlete Hell Day? Nope, but I've been invited a few times, and it just hasn't met my schedule. And to be honest with you, I've done several of those type of training programs, and being up for 24 hours yelling at people is not my idea of fun. So I tend not to do them. What lifting strength program of yours do you recommend that will not affect my everyday run times? Very good. Very good question. I would do this one right here. Anything that says winter lift cycle in my programming helps you maintain, what's that say? Maintain endurance. Build strength, maintain endurance. It is programmed in there for you to maintain your running speed. Now, you're not going to run as much as you would in my summer running peak cycle, but you will definitely be lifting and getting stronger. And typically the guys put on 10 to 15 pounds of mass if they're trying to, and getting stronger and maintaining their pace on runs. If not, getting faster, because we do work on speed running shorter runs. We're not doing long distance running. We're just working on speed so you can crush a 6-minute mile, maybe if you're stuck at a 7-minute mile. All right, so it looks like I've answered all the questions. Let's do another video because I got one ready to go. Let's see. Let's see how this looks. All right, so here's one thing right from the start. Notice what's going on. When he kicks off this wall, what's he doing? See all that surface tension right there? That's like, hey, put on the brakes while I swim. Go a little deeper. If you can go like 3 or 4 inches deeper and not plow the surface whenever you're swimming off, kicking off the wall, you'll actually get a little further off the wall and maintain some speed. But that right there, it's like he just stopped. That double arm pull, breach the surface like that. That's just like stop moving horizontally. So we got a top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. Decent breaststroke kick there. It's not bad. Yeah. See the arm recovery? Way out to the side. Biceps not on the ears. Needs to be a little tighter on the streamlined body position. Top arm looks a little, I call it like the windmill stroke, where you're just, everything's from the shoulder, right? You need to learn how to do the freestyle catch with this top arm. So work on a tighter arm recovery, and see that top arm right there? See how your elbow leads? Look at that. Oh man, that's a great picture of it. Watch. See how your elbow leads this top arm pull? Let me see if I can get it. Right there. Your elbow is leading the top arm pull. Yeah. See, you want to get your forearm vertical now. Get that forearm vertical now and grab water and pull it down so you go that way. So it's called the freestyle catch. What I want you to do is seriously go to YouTube, type in freestyle catch training, and um, you will see people much better at swimming than I am teaching you how to grab water with that top arm and pulling it down. Now, it's a freestyle version of that. And that really, if you think about it, the combat swimmer stroke with that top arm, it's really the first turn. And, when you pull that top arm and turn to breathe, that's just like freestyle. The only difference is instead of doing this, we're coming up under and holding the glide, after an underwater recovery stroke. Alex says, just out of curiosity and lack of knowledge, is it possible for someone to finish West Point and attend Buds? Absolutely. In fact, there is an exchange program where West Point cadets will come to the Naval Academy their junior year, and Naval Academy midshipmen will go to West Point. They do the same thing with Air Force. And we have this exchange program. It's just for one semester, but the guys that are really interested in going to Buds from West Point will try to get into that program, come to the Naval Academy, train with us on the Spec Ops team, and go through the screener that we have here for midshipmen before they go to Buds or before they go to SOAS, get a part of that process, and now they can go to Buds their next summer and go through SOAS. And when they go through SOAS, they have to fill out all the paperwork just like everybody else. When they go through SOAS, they get selected or not. And if they get selected, now it's a 1-to-1 deal. So like if there's somebody who's at Army that wants to go Navy, there has to be somebody at Navy that wants to go Army. And there always is, because let's say pilot slots um, are all taken up and there's nobody able to do pilot, for the last, 50% of the class. So they can go Army pilot, right? Or, if they qualify. Or if there's a Navy guy that doesn't want to go and all his choices are is going on a ship, but they'd rather go land warfare stuff and go Army infantry, he might be able to do that. So there's some leeway depending on what that is, but you have to make it work. It's not an easy process, but it's not an impossible process that doesn't have years of um, precedent to it. So it's very common. So good question though. Good questions today. All right, let's see what else I got here. I think I got another. Okay, this was an interesting one. All right, let me see what we got. So I'm going to share this one again. All right, so here we go. Kicking off the wall. He's also doing something very similar, kind of plows the surface. Doesn't do a breaststroke pullout, which is probably good because he probably just stopped himself by plowing the surface even more and just getting more tired. So he opts to go right into the stroke, which if you're going to plow the surface, go right into the stroke because it makes no sense to do a breaststroke pullout if you're just plowing. All right, so top arm, bottom arm kick. So he got the timing down right, but his problem here is if you notice when he kicks, one, he brings that knee up way too high. Like he doesn't need to bring his knee up that high, right? In fact, what I tend to do is try to bring it up, bring that heel up towards my butt and my knees staying underneath my torso versus bending 90 degrees here, right? Try to stay more straight. And then on the last part of the kick, you reach out and you grab that kick versus moving all this forward limb out of the slipstream. And now you're just putting on the brakes every time you bring your knee up that high. So I tend to try to bring it up, touch my heel close to my butt like I'm doing a butt kicker with my legs, with my thigh bone directly underneath me like this. So it's parallel to this one versus perpendicular. Then reaching out and grabbing water. And I'll show you how I do it here in a second. Then the other thing that he's doing is, if you notice, he kicks on his side, and then he rolls over and he's already on his belly in the middle of the kick. So what tends to happen there is he's doing a scissor kick that turns into a breaststroke kick, and you lose a lot of power in your kick. And if you notice, he's not really gliding that far after he does it. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4. And then he overglides and loses a lot of momentum every stroke. That's why it has taken him 30 seconds to get across the pool. And believe it or not, this was fast. He was doing a 50 in like 70 seconds. I think he pulls off a 60 in this one because he's actually getting better. But you can see also the top arm, needs to do more of a breaststroke pull out, or I'm sorry, a more freestyle catch, just like the other guy. Little flutter kicks there can go away. That's just making him tired. Yeah, this is a 1 minute 50-yard swim, which is just slow. His stroke right now is capable of a 10-minute swim, 10-minute 500, which is very slow. So, and chances are his conditioning's not even capable of getting into a 10-minute swim. So that was just one of those, got to work on the kick, got to work on the pull, got to work on the streamline, and taking out the flutter kicks. That's a multiple problem issue right there. And get a little deeper off the kickoff so you're not plowing the surface. All right, and what I'll do is I'll show you somebody that does it real well off the wall here in a second. Let me take this question here. Sometimes get rotator cuff pain from swimming. Would you suggest working around? It's a tough one. Take a look at your stroke. Are you pulling down? Are you doing the little S pattern? Sometimes people hurt their shoulder because they're doing this. Just pull straight down if that's the case. Now, what a lot of people do if they're doing the side stroke is, if their top arm is sore, they'll change sides and make it the bottom arm. And that bottom arm's really just kind of like this little small breaststroke skull, and it's not the full arm pull that may trigger rotator cuff pain. In fact, I have taught countless triathletes how to do the combat swimmer stroke so they can still compete after a wreck or something left their shoulders immobile enough to do freestyle anymore. So they still compete on that weak side, or whatever side CSS they're on, to make that injured shoulder be their bottom arm. That's another way to work around it. Or just practice treading. I call treading vertical swimming. And if you can tread with no hands for 10 minutes, I call that equivalent to a 500 for sure. All right, so let me show you this one. Last one, and then we'll start wrapping this show up here. So what? Okay, see that kick off the wall? Look how deep he is. Could be even a little too deep, probably about a foot deep, but that's all right. He comes up, and then he transitions into the stroke. And notice he never loses momentum off of that wall. And that's why this is going to be so fast, is he never lost any momentum. And if you notice, his knee comes up, but it's quick and pops it down. So he's got a good whip kick down from that knee. I may show you mine here just to show you a little bit of a difference. But yeah, this is really good. I like this swim. And I think it's a 47-second 50. Let's see here. So that looks pretty good. Let me stop sharing my screen here. Let me see if I can find my reels over on Instagrams. And my computer's moving a little slow today. I'm a little ticked about that. So I don't know if I saved them. to be mine. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Gonna make sure it's got the volume off. All right, so I'm gonna show you mine here real quick. All right, so let me share my screen. Entire screen here. All right, so you guys can see this. So this is me kicking off the wall. I think that's me. What the hell happened? Oh, maybe that's the other one. Okay, I know what I did wrong. So let me reshare this because it's a different screen. It's Instagram. All right. So let's see how this looks. You guys can see this? Kind of small, but check it out. You can see how I bring up my kick and I just it goes out there a little bit, but it's more of like a big whip kick from the knee down, and it doesn't slow you down any. So kick off the wall, streamline underwater, double arm pull, still underwater, transition into the stroke, boom. So there's a top arm, bottom arm, bring the knee up, boom. So I try to bring the foot up first. You see how the foot stays under me a little bit, knee comes out a little bit, and then it's not that big of a wide of a stroke. It doesn't get into that slipstream very much. And that was like a 47, 48 second 50 as well. So hope that made a little bit difference on that kick. I think a lot of people try to kick really wide, and when they got one leg going forward, one leg going back, like they're doing the splits, um, that's just like putting on the brakes when you swim. All right, so that's all the videos I have for you. You guys have any more questions? If I missed your question, you can send them to me, stu@stewsmith.com. You can send some videos to me if you want me to check them out. Happy to. Don't forget, the show runs on likes and shares. So you see something you like, share it and like it. Also, go check out stewsmithfitness.com. And because you guys have endured another almost hour with me, I appreciate it. You have a coupon code LIVE15, saves you 15% on books and ebooks if you're interested in getting some products that can hope you can help you with your training, no matter if it's for getting stronger or faster, or it's focusing on specific events that you know you're going to have to get used to and endure in your future military, law enforcement, firefighter training. So that's what I do. So, well, thank you. I tell you what, we had a former swimmer come today to swim, and he didn't know how to do the combat swimmer stroke, but he could do everything else in the water, and it was just like killing us. I mean, made us look like 12-year-old swimmers. Um, and I showed him the CSS, and it literally took 25, maybe 50 yards max for him to figure out the CSS, and was better than all of us within a minute and a half. So that's what swimmers bring to the table. They can crush this stuff in the water. Yeah, thank you, Alex. If you want to get notified of me coming on, yeah, click that notification bell too. I am always on here Monday and Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern time here in the United States. I know that's early if you're West Coast, so it's just convenient for me to make it now. Uh, so I don't have plans to making it later in the day, but I might play around with this Monday, Wednesday routine, which I like. But for right now, we're keeping it Monday and Tuesday. And if we have to, if I ever miss a Tuesday, we'll just bump it to Wednesday or Thursday. So there you go. Hope you guys have a good one. And let me know if I can help you. Happy to assist. You guys have a good rest of the week, and I will see you next week. Until then, have a good